let's just talk about this. It looks La Russa's not coming back this year.
Mm-hmm. We'll
He's
see about
probably
next week. Yeah, probably
I
not.
know I probably not next year. I mean, he when you leave for health reasons and you're
Yeah,
his
80.
age, you know, I mean, I thought it was bizarre that he came back anyway. But you know, and look at I wish the man well. I mean, I don't wish ill upon anybody. Well, there's some people I
Mhm.
wish ill upon, but Tony La Russa is not one of them. And
Okay.
he's obviously a Hall of Famer, obviously an all-time great manager, and he already is a Hall of Famer. And he tacked on one more division title to his resume. And I wonder if they throw scribble that onto his plaque that's already hanging in Cooperstown right now. There's other managerial news. Don Mattingly, who my father used to relentlessly mock when he was the manager of the Dodgers. I'll never forget. My dad, may he rest in peace, would watch every single Giants game, and it was in 2014. And the Giants, the year the Giants went on to win the World Series, but the Dodgers actually won the division that year. The Giants were a wild card team. And my dad was talking very confidently about the Giants' chances in the postseason. And I said, "Well, look out for the Dodgers, Dad. Look out for the Dodgers. They look really great." And my dad said, "The thing you have to remember about the Dodgers is they're managed by an idiot."
Wow.
And he was referring to Don Mattingly.
Well,
And then when they got eliminated in the division series, and then the Giants had a clear lane to go to the World Series, my father said, "Remember, they're managed by an idiot." I said, "Okay, Poppy, let's get some Don Mattingly love." Well, unbelievably, he was a manager for 7 years with the Marlins. He was there for 7 years. And they went to the playoffs in the truncated season, and they won a playoff round. Remember, they beat the Cubs. They actually got to the division series. But there's going to be a big old opening in Miami. There's no way that Phil Nevin is the long-term solution for the Angels. It looks like the White Sox are going to have an opening, but I think they should just keep Miguel Cairo there. You know, Miguel Cairo's already there. He already knows the team. He's had a dry run of it. I think he's exactly the kind of manager that they should have there. And then there's some teams with interim manager situations. The Phillies and Blue Jays may both be going to the playoffs, so that may secure things for managerial situation there. The Rangers have Tony Beasley, who is a lifer in their organization, and it's good that he gets to put Major League Manager on his resume, but he'll probably have to fight for his job there. And I actually, I think that, who knows what will happen to Aaron Boone if the Yankees don't get to the World Series.
Yeah.
And whenever you have older managers like Dusty, like Buck Showalter, like Bob Melvin, you kind of have to have your antenna up because they may just wind up saying, "Hey, I want to spend some time with my grandkids." And I think that when the Twins signed Carlos Correa, their intentions was not to have a losing season. So I think Rocco Baldelli is on a huge hot seat. And inevitably there's going to be some manager whose wasn't their fault, but they have to throw a bone to the fans and like in Pittsburgh or in Baltimore, you're going to see, they're contending. So, but like, who knows? But what are your thoughts on some of these managerial openings? And does Joe Maddon fit in any of them?
Yeah, a lot of thoughts on these managerial openings. It's been a weird season for managers across baseball. I'll first start with the Twins manager, I guess Rocco Baldelli. I'll come into his defense. I don't think he should be on the hot seat because even though the Twins kind of faltered down the stretch, I still contend if you look at this team's talent on paper, it's not a very good roster. So the fact that this team was still in it as a wild card team to the final month of the season, I think this team is at least moving in the right direction, and I wouldn't fire Rocco Baldelli. I'll move on to Tony La Russa. I don't think it's a surprise that this hasn't worked out. He was old when they hired him, and now he has to step away for health reasons because he's old. That's what happens when you're old. You have health reasons, so wishing the best for Tony La Russa. But
trust me, it's what happens.
No, you're a young stallion, Sully, so I don't want to hear that. But for Tony La Russa, I mean, it was a weird fit when he was hired. It felt like baseball passed him at the time of his hiring because, like we keep saying, old. He was old. So I think they need to get a younger guy in there. Maybe you stay with the Miguel Cairo. I just think you need someone that could connect and relate to those players, because I just felt like you were never going to be on the same page with the Tony La Russa and the Chicago White Sox team, which was one of the younger in baseball when he was hired. So I don't like that. I didn't like that pairing at the time. So hopefully they can move on and get an upgrade there. Don Mattingly, I feel like it's been a weird situation in Miami, because if he got fired, it would be justifiable, because I mean, back-to-back sub-70 seasons the last couple of years. The Marlins have been terrible the 7 years under Don Mattingly, but I think he should have been fired probably right after they traded their entire outfield away in Yelich, Ozuna, and Stan, because those teams were scuffling when they had talent, when they still had the great Jose Fernandez on those teams as well, with those 3 MVP candidates. That's when those teams probably should have went to the postseason. They were really disappointing a lot of those years, so that's probably when you should have fired Don Mattingly and just rebuilt and restarted that whole franchise. So now you're kind of doing it now. It's probably a little too late, because I don't think if you bring a new manager in there, you're going to get different results, at least anytime soon, because yes, you have talent in that rotation, but that lineup is bad. Like, to come to the defense of Don Mattingly, like, it's not like he was going to make the postseason the last couple of years. I think I got a little spit on my mouth now because I'm talking so much. That team hasn't been very good in terms of talent and roster construction. So Kim has to go in the offseason and add some talent to that team, because I like that rotation. I like some of the pieces in that bullpen, but that lineup is just not good enough.
They're going to have the Cy Young Award winner with Alcantara.
Yeah, he's runaway.
Pitchers on that team.
Yeah, he should be the runaway Cy Young Award winner. And number
unanimous.
2.
Unanimous. Not even, I mean,
unanimous.
There's no question he should win the Cy Young.
Yeah, the real question is, should Zach Gallen finish runner-up, because he had that scoreless streak, one of the longest of all time, so Zach Gallen should be number 2. And then my final point of the managers before I wrap up this long soliloquy I have over here, I feel bad for the Blue Jays manager, Charlie Montoya, for getting fired midseason, because I felt like that was a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction. I mean, I guess the new interim manager does have a better winning percentage than Montoya, but Montoya was the manager of the year candidate last year. I felt like he shouldn't have been fired midway through the season. I felt like that happened too quickly. The Rangers manager, Chris Woodward, I didn't understand him getting fired, because I felt like this was a 3-year plan for the Rangers. Felt like you came into this year trying to add pieces, just establish a foundation, and then go in the next couple of off seasons and still build to this team. I didn't think you were trying to win right now, championship or bust, but I guess it was for the Rangers. So I didn't understand them firing their manager. And then on the Angels, Joe Maddon, to tie it all together, his firing was also justifiable, because they were started hot, then went on that 17-game losing streak. They looked terrible.
Yeah, it was disastrous.
And now he's doing this whole PR campaign where I probably agree with him a little bit about how it might have been the front office and the pushing of the analytics onto him, and how they just never went out there and got him a rotation. I still feel like Joe Maddon has a lot of cachet in baseball. He's still considered probably a genius. He still led that Rays team to great heights, broke the curse for the Chicago Cubs. So I think he's going to find a team pretty easily, because I still think Joe Maddon is probably considered a genius in baseball circles. I concede my time.
I wonder about managers who have had success, but also saw their teams trade everyone around them. Like Dave Martinez managed the Nationals to a World Series title in 2019, and they're going to lose 100 games this year. And for someone like him, it might be a situation similar to what happened with Bob Melvin, who's like, I don't want to sit through another rebuild. I don't want to go through the rebuild. I could have value as a manager for a team that could win now. Your buddy Torre Lovullo, who managed the Diamondbacks to the playoffs, very good baseball mind, very good manager.
Manager of the year that year.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he sticks around because the Diamondbacks are showing signs of improvement and showing signs like they're not a 100-loss team this year. There is, you and I have talked about this, that there's, they're gonna win. They're gonna be under 90 losses this year. So yeah. I mean, it's they've made improvements. So maybe Lovullo wants to be there for when they turn the corner. But Martinez is one that I find interesting, because he was one of Joe Maddon's lieutenants in Tampa, and then when Maddon left, he took with him to Chicago, and then was a highly sought after managerial candidate, went to Washington. They won the World Series under him. So he's clearly, he's clearly a good baseball mind. Mm-hmm. And for a team like the Angels that could use someone I think a team like the Angels needs better pitching, and they need a veteran hand. He's someone I would consider. here's the question. Like, I keep thinking about where Joe Maddon should land. And of course, line up your drinks, everyone. Bruce Bochy's lieutenants deserve a job. Roberto Kelly, Hensley Mullins. I have someone who writes every time I bring up Bruce Bochy's lieutenants, they do a shot. Okay. So that's what that's about for those of you who are new to the show. I still think the best place for Joe Maddon to land is Minnesota. I think Minnesota has some talent there. They could spend some money there, and you put him in there. It sends a message to the team that we're trying to win right now. I think that would be an interesting fit. And I think that he would be an interesting fit for that team, which I think is closer to contending than, other people. Poor Mike Schilt won the Manager of the Year in 2019, had the Cardinals on a massive winning streak to push them into the playoffs last year, then got fired, and his name isn't even coming up.
No. The disrespect to managers. Yeah, for Joe Maddon, I think it'd be kind of interesting if he went back to the American League East and maybe he went to Toronto and pitch and manage the Blue Jays with all that talent. Or, like you said, if the Yankees don't make it to the World Series and they let go of Aaron Boone, maybe Joe Maddon to New York, a big market team. You break the curse with the Yankees after doing it with the Cubs. He's already a made man, but you just go to another level of legend status if you're Joe Maddon, and you do it in Chicago and New York.
That's true. Well, you're going to take it to a new level of legend status by doing this every Monday with me. Hey, Miller, tell people where they can listen to your terrific show.
Hey, you can listen to me. Locked on Diamondbacks is the show. Follow me on Twitter at CreatorThomas24 for my personal account. Follow the show account, Locked on Diamondbacks. We're on YouTube, Locked on Diamondbacks on YouTube, and we're on all your podcasting platforms.
And we are available at Locked on MLB Pods on Twitter and on Instagram. And I'm your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. We're on YouTube. And subscribe to Locked On MLB on YouTube because I've been doing a lot of live streaming. And so if you want to hop on and maybe throw something in the chat, I'll answer questions you throw in the chat. I'm trying to fill 6 or 7 of these a week so I can use your hand. And hey, if you have anything you want me to talk about, especially in the off season, which is not that far from now, send it to my personal account right there at Sully Baseball on Twitter. I check that a hell of a lot more frequently than I check my Instagram. But hey, talking about the Guardians, the baby Guardians, who could be dangerous this October. Judge and Pujols telling us why we love the game and who's going to be managing the teams next year. This has been the Locked On MLB, Locked On Diamondbacks crossover. I'm Paul Francis Sullivan. You call me Sully. That's Millard Thomas, and we're going to fist bump this for another week.
Boom.